You know that specific feeling at the end of a day with a child?
Oh, I do.
And I'm not talking about the days where you're, physically running around a park or the days where you're putting out fires during a massive
Well,
tantrum.
not the big obvious ones.
I'm talking about those days where on paper, absolutely nothing happened. You hung out, you played a little, you made lunch, it was calm.
Right.
But by the time the evening rolls around, you feel this bone-deep exhaustion that doesn't seem to match the activity log. You feel hollowed out.
It's the phantom fatigue. You look back at the day and think, why am I so tired? I didn't do anything.
Exactly. And usually the advice you get is to take a break or practice mindfulness, which frankly feels a bit insulting when you're in the thick of it. But today, we're going somewhere completely different. We are digging into a piece of writing that finally puts language to that specific exhaustion. We're doing a deep dive into an essay titled Attention by the writer and philosopher Pedro Malha.
And this is such a vital text because Mala isn't interested in giving you parenting hacks. He isn't trying to tell you how to pay better attention or be more present.
Yeah.
He's doing something much more profound.
Yeah.
He is analyzing what the act of giving attention actually does to the human being who is doing the giving. He's looking at the cost.
That's the mission for today. We aren't optimizing, we are validating. We're going to look at the psychological and physiological cost of caring. Malha argues that attention isn't just a skill you turn on and off.
It's a structural load.
A structural load, yes.
Right. He describes it as a condition that settles into time. And that is a crucial distinction. We tend to think of attention as an action. I'm looking at you now. But Mala is talking about attention as an atmosphere you have to live inside.
So let's unpack this, because the first thing Malha does is dismantle the way we usually use the word attention. I think most of us conflate it with focus.
Oh, for sure.
Like if I'm deep in a spreadsheet or fixing a leaky sink, I'm paying attention.
Right. And that's where the friction starts. Mala makes a really, really sharp distinction here.
Yeah.
Focus is heroic. It's vigilant. It's active concentration. Think of a surgeon in the OR or, I don't know, a sniper waiting for a shot.
It has a clear target?
A clear target. And crucially, it excludes everything else.
It's exclusionary by design. If I'm focusing, I'm blocking the world out. I am narrowing my vision to a single point.
Exactly. But parenting attention, that is something else entirely. You can't block the world out because the child is the world you're inhabiting. Mala defines this type of attention as the steady requirement to be available, perceptible, and responsive.
Available, perceptible, and responsive.
Yeah.
That feels significantly heavier than just looking at something.
It is heavier because it's structural. Focus is a flashlight beam. You point at something.
Right.
Parenting attention is more like being the atmosphere. You don't turn it on.
Right.
It's just the baseline reality of having a child in the room. You are required to be someone whose awareness can be repeatedly claimed.
Yeah. Repeatedly claimed. That phrase really struck me because it explains why it feels so fragmented. He writes about how this type of attention is rarely felt as a standalone experience.
No, you don't notice it.
You don't sit there and think, I am paying attention now. You feel it through interruption.
Yes. This is the fragmentation of the self. Malha describes it so vividly. It's a thought started and then diverted, a task half completed, a moment of inward quiet that is broken by a voice needing something small.
And here's what's fascinating. It's not always a crisis. It's rarely urgent.
Almost never.
Right. It's not, Mom, the house is on fire. It's, Mom, look at this rock. Mom, I'm hungry. Mom, watch me jump. It's low stakes, but high frequency.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Malha calls it the quiet insistence of being looked at. And that is exhausting in a way that is hard to explain to people who aren't in it.
Yeah.
It's the sense that your inner world is continually being entered. You lose that uninterrupted interior space. You lose the freedom to follow a thought all the way to its end.
That leads us to the concept in the essay that actually made me put the paper down and stare at the wall for a minute. Porosity.
It's a perfect word for it, isn't it?
It is, because usually we think of our minds as these walled gardens. My thoughts are in here, your thoughts are out there.
Right.
But Malha argues that parenting punches holes in that wall.
He argues that parenting places another developing mind inside the perimeter of your own awareness. And he means this practically, not just poetically. You become porous.
Porous.
You register their sounds, their movements, their moods, whether you intend to or not.
Okay, so let's paint the picture to make this real. I'm sitting on the couch, I'm trying to read a novel. My kid is in the corner building a Lego tower.
Okay.
Technically, I am reading. My eyes are on the page.
Technically, yes. Functionally,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
You're reading the words, but a separate processing unit in your brain is tracking the click, click, click of the bricks.
I am.
You're monitoring the rhythm of their breathing. And if that clicking stops...
My head snaps up immediately, before I even know why.
Exactly. That is porosity. Your awareness has been distributed. You are running a background process, a daemon in computer terms, that never fully shuts down.
Wow.
You can't get lost in the book because you have leased out a portion of your consciousness to the safety of the child.
Which explains why you can sit on the couch for 2 hours while they play and you stand up feeling like you just ran a marathon. You haven't moved, but your brain has been multitasking on a survival level the entire time.
This is a key takeaway. Mala argues attention has weight. He calls it cumulative load.
Cumulative load.
It's not about emotional intensity. Each individual act of noticing is light. Looking at a drawing, light. Answering a question, light. But thousands of them, held across years, that becomes incredibly heavy.
It's the death by 1,000 cuts, but it's death by 1,000 glances.
Precisely. And the tricky part, the part that drives us a little crazy, is the paradox of success that Mala points out.
Oh, this hit me hard.
When this attention is given well, nothing happens.
When attention is given well, nothing happens.
Think about it. If you are attentive, the child continues playing. The day continues. There is no event. There is no trophy for did not let toddler eat battery.
Right.
Because attention produces continuity rather than outcomes, parents often feel like nothing they're doing counts.
That is so validating. We live in a world that loves outcomes. We love checking boxes. I built this presentation, I cleaned the kitchen, but I sustained the emotional equilibrium of a 4-year-old for 6 hours, leaves no visible trace.
It's invisible labor. And because it's invisible, even to the person doing it, we undervalue it. We feel the fatigue, but we can't point to the cause, so we blame ourselves.
Yeah, you think, I shouldn't be this tired, I haven't done anything.
But Mala is saying, you have done something. You have held the continuity of another life.
And that holding doesn't stop when the sun goes down. Mala talks about this background hum that persists even when the house is quiet.
Yes. Even when the child is asleep, say, late at night or in the early hours before the sun is up, attention is often still partially oriented toward the possibility of them waking up. It's not fully at rest.
It's like your phone being in low power mode but still searching for a signal.
That's a great analogy.
It drains the battery just as much as making a call.
It's a state of readiness. And Malha points out that this constant state of reachability creates a physiological response. The nervous system eventually signals saturation.
Which looks like what? Because I think a lot of us feel it, but we label it as I'm being a jerk or I'm a bad parent.
It looks like irritability. It looks like touch aversion, where you physically recoil if someone taps your shoulder. It looks like numbness. This is the touched out phenomenon.
I've definitely felt that. Just that wall where you think, if one more person asks me for something, I'm going to dissolve.
Right. And here is the crucial unlock from Malha. And if you take one thing away from this deep dive, let it be this. When you snap at your partner, or you feel that flash of anger when your child asks for a snack, that is not a lack of love.
It feels like a lack of love. It feels like a character flaw.
It isn't.
Yeah.
It is your nervous system resisting the condition of being constantly reachable. It is a biological safety mechanism saying, I am full.
Wow.
It is a sign of saturation, not a failure of the heart.
I feel like we need to just leave some dead air for that to sink in, because the guilt attached to that irritability is crushing. We interpret our biological limits as moral failing.
It is crushing. And Malha writes, somewhat hauntingly, that attention does not rest when love is present. The exhaustion is, in a strange, backward way, evidence of the love.
How so?
If you didn't care, you wouldn't be paying attention, and you wouldn't be tired.
But it's also mixed with fear, right? Malha transitions into discussing how attention involves this constant scanning.
This is where the philosophy gets really deep. He said the mind learns to scan not just for what is there, but for what is absent, delayed, or altered.
So you're noticing a silence that lingers too long, a mood that shifts.
Precisely. And he calls it carrying the future, which sounds beautiful, but also terrifying.
It is terrifying, because to notice a child is to hold who they are now alongside who they might become. You aren't just watching a kid eat breakfast, you're scanning for signs of development, happiness, distress. Attention carries consequence. A missed signal feels like it has high stakes.
It really does. Now, Malha shifts gears in a way that I think will resonate with parents of older kids.
Okay.
Because everything we just discussed, the porosity, the physical tracking, the Lego tower, that's very toddler coded. That's don't eat the battery attention.
Right, it's very immediate.
Correct.
Yeah.
But the load doesn't vanish as they age. It mutates.
Mm-hmm.
Mala talks about the evolution from surface to depth.
Which sounds elegant, but I imagine it's actually quite jarring in practice.
It's incredibly disorienting. In the early years, the demand is immediate and visible. You watch them to keep them alive.
Yeah.
But as they grow, the attention becomes interpretive. It becomes about reading silences, sensing withdrawals.
That seems infinitely harder. With a toddler, the signal-to-noise ratio is high. If they're screaming, something is wrong. But with a teenager, silence could mean I'm tired, or it could mean my entire social life collapsed today.
And the parent has to be attuned enough to feel the difference, but restrained enough not to probe too hard. It requires a tremendous amount of inhibition.
You have to sit on your hands.
You have to not ask questions.
Yeah.
So the weight of attention shifts from physical exhaustion to what? Emotional suppression.
Or kind of suspended readiness.
Yes, that's it. It's the fatigue of holding space for something that might not even be said. Mala notes that this fragility makes parents doubt their own perception.
Oh, yeah. You start thinking, am I missing something? Is he okay?
And that fear can drive you right back into a trap.
The trap of vigilance. Mala draws a hard line between attention and vigilance. What's the difference there?
This is crucial for our mental health. Vigilance is attention that has lost its ease. It's driven by fear. It's defensive.
It's tense. So tense. Vigilance assumes that attention must be flawless, continuous, and uninterrupted to be valid. It tightens the nerves. It's the parent who is scanning for threats constantly.
So vigilance is thinking, if I miss one thing, I failed.
Exactly. Whereas true attention, as Malha defines it, is a shared field. It allows for misattunement, it allows for delay, it allows for repair.
Repair, that's a good word.
He argues that missing a beat or misunderstanding a child isn't a failure of attention, it's part of the rhythm of a relationship.
That is such a relief, because the pressure to be perfectly attuned 100% of the time is essentially a ticket to a nervous breakdown.
And it's impossible. Mall says children don't require constant attunement. They require sufficient recognition to feel real. If we aim for perfection, we end up in vigilance, which is exhausting and actually makes us less responsive because we're so tense.
You stop seeing the child and start seeing the risks.
That's it.
So how do we cope? We've established that this is heavy, it's constant, it fragments our brains, and it gets more complex with time. Where's the good news, Pedro Malha? The good news is in the reframing. Malha offers a quiet truth that I think is the antidote to the guilt. He says, attention cannot be evenly distributed.
Say that again.
Attention cannot be evenly distributed. There will be days when it is thin. There will be moments when it is distracted. Yeah. And that is okay.
Because kids live in patterns, not moments.
Exactly. This is the field of attention. A child lives inside the aggregate of your care over 10 years, not the single afternoon where you were scrolling on your phone and ignored them for 20 minutes.
Right.
Attention accumulates. It creates an atmosphere, not a scorecard.
An atmosphere, not a scorecard. That's the bumper sticker.
It changes everything. If you see attention as a cumulative load, a structural reality, you stop judging yourself for the individual lapses. You realize that a single lapse doesn't undo the field you've built.
And Malha says there is power in just naming this.
Yes. Naming it doesn't remove the interruption. It doesn't give you more free time, but it removes the layer of self-judgment.
That's huge.
It transforms this unnamed drain into an understood condition of care.
It stops being, I'm weak and tired, and starts being, I am carrying a heavy load because that is what the work requires.
Precisely. It allows you to recognize that the fatigue is not personal inadequacy. It's structural. You are tired because you are doing the work.
He ends with a really beautiful definition of what love in the context of attention actually is. It's not about fixing or entertaining.
No, he defines it as the act of allowing another person to matter without requiring them to justify that mattering.
Wow. Allowing them to matter without requiring them to justify it.
It's making space in your awareness for someone else's becoming. And Mala reminds us that this act is quiet. It rarely looks impressive. It often feels thankless. But it is the primary way children learn that the world can receive them.
They learn they matter.
Because you attended to them reliably enough over time.
Reliably enough. That's the bar. Not perfectly. Reliably enough.
That's the bar. And it's a bar we can actually reach.
This has been such a necessary conversation, I think, for so many listeners. Just hearing that this weight is real, that it has a name and a function, is going to be a huge release.
I hope so. Because when we normalize the cost of attention, we stop fighting it so much.
Yeah.
We can just exist within it.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into Pedro Malha's attention, we're left with this image of parenting not as a series of tasks, but as a continuous act of holding space. It's invisible, it's heavy, but it's the shape that care takes over time.
And it's the medium through which the relationship unfolds.
Here's a thought I want to leave you with, something to mull over as you go back to your day, whether that involves toddlers or teenagers or just the memory of being parented yourself.
Let's hear it.
Mala talks so much about how attention shakes the child. We make space for their becoming. But if porosity is real, if we really are letting another mind inhabit our own awareness for years on end, in what ways does that act of making space fundamentally alter the person doing the giving?
That's fascinating. You're asking about the reverse impact.
Exactly. Perhaps we aren't just shaping the child. Perhaps we are being permanently reshaped, etched away and expanded by the porosity we allow. Maybe the fragmentation isn't just breaking us. Maybe it's reconfiguring us into something larger. Maybe we become different people because we let someone else live in our heads.
That is a profound thought. We are changed by what we attend to.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into Pedro Mala's work. We'll see you next time.